Olivia Hale dragged herself up the apartment steps close to midnight, her whole body heavy from another long shift. Her eyes burned, her shoulders ached, and all she could think about was getting inside, eating something warm, and collapsing into bed. The hallway was quiet, the kind of quiet that usually comforted her. But tonight, something felt different. She slipped her key into the lock, then paused. Voices floated from the living room. Low. Sharp. Too sharp. Her mother, Carol. Her sister, Brianna. Her uncle, Ray. Olivia's hand froze on the doorknob. She leaned in slightly, just enough to hear clearly. We'll do it at Christmas dinner, Carol said, her tone clipped and cold. Everyone will be there. She won't be able to run away. Brianna let out a laugh, light, cruel. Perfect. En intervention. She needs it. Olivia has always thought she's the responsible one, but look at her. Failed business, no fiancé, drowning in debt. She's become the family burden, Ray added. We need to expose her irresponsibility before she drags us all down with her. Olivia felt her breath catch in her chest. Her heart started pounding so hard she could hear it. She took one small step back, pressing herself against the wall, so they wouldn't notice she was home. They weren't whispering out of care. They were whispering out of strategy, planning, enjoying it. You know what I'll do? Brianna continued, amused. I'll read out everything she messed up this year. I'll make it sound sweet at first, then flip it. People will love it. Carol hummed like she agreed. She needs to be humbled. She thinks she's better than she is. Ray huffed. And once she's embarrassed enough, I'm sure she'll hand over the apartment. She shouldn't be living there anyway. A small, shaky breath escaped Olivia. They were talking about her life, her pain, like it was a game. Like her struggles were entertainment. Like she existed to be punched, judged, or used. Brianna giggled again. Christmas is going to be fun. Olivia's stomach twisted. Her palms went cold. She wanted to walk away. She wanted to scream. She wanted to disappear. But she stayed still, listening, letting the truth burn into her. These were the people she had sacrificed for, supported, protected. Yet this was how they repaid her. Not with love. Not with concern. With humiliation. A plan to break her in front of the whole family. Her chest tightened as she swallowed the rising ache in her throat. She had expected disappointment from them before. But this was different. This was deliberate, sharp, cool. They laughed again, easy, relaxed, entertained. Olivia closed her eyes. In that moment, one thought cut through her shock like ice. I thought betrayal had a sound. But this one was silent, calculated, and familiar. Groomed to be the responsible one while Brianna received open affection. Olivia grew up learning that love in her family was uneven. Carol, her mother, never said it out loud, but her actions made it clear. When Brianna cried, she was held. When Olivia cried, she was told to be strong. When Brianna failed, she was comforted. When Olivia failed, she was lectured. Olivia learned early that she was the one expected to keep everything together. She did her chores without being asked. She took care of Brianna. She tried to make their mother proud. Even though nothing she did was ever quite enough, she grew into the reliable daughter. The one who fixed problems, stayed quiet, and carried the weight no one else wanted to hold. Their father left when they were both young. Brianna barely remembered him, but Olivia remembered every detail. His laugh, the way he'd lift her onto his shoulders, the bedtime stories he never forgot to tell. Losing him cut deep, and in the years that followed, everyone told Olivia to be the strong one. And she tried. Maybe too hard. When she reached her early 20s, she didn't think twice before supporting the family. Carol struggled with bills, and Ray appeared only when he needed something. Olivia took jobs, sometimes two at once, to keep the lights on. She paid for groceries, repairs, even some of Brianna's school expenses. She told herself it was the right thing to do. Family first, she believed. But no one ever stopped to ask how she was doing. Still, Olivia held on to a dream. She loved planning events, decor, colors, music, bringing joy into people's lives. So she saved every extra dollar she could and invested it into an event planning startup. For the first time, she felt hope, purpose, a future she chose for herself. But that dream fell apart fast. Her business partner, someone she trusted, stole the funds, emptied accounts, and vanished. Overnight, Olivia was left with debt, failure, and shame. She tried to breathe through it, tried to stay strong, but everything felt heavy and humiliating. The one dream she dared to build had been destroyed. As if that wasn't enough, her fiancé, Caleb, chose that moment to walk away. He told her she was too soft, that she let people use her, that he couldn't build a future with someone who always sacrificed too much. His words cut deeper than he knew. She had loved him. She had trusted him. And yet he saw her kindness as weakness. Now, Olivia lives alone in her late grandmother's small apartment. The place is old but warm, filled with memories of the only person who ever showed her pure, unconditional love. She works long hours at a hospitality agency, doing everything from event setups to late-night cleanups. Most days, she returns home with aching legs and a tired heart. She is rebuilding her life slowly, one small step at a time, but inside she feels worn down, like she's been fighting a battle for years without rest. Her best friend, Monica, is the only one who truly understands her. Monica listens, worries, and warns her constantly. "Liv," she often says, "your family doesn't need your help. They need someone to blame. They use your guilt to control you." Olivia hears her, but letting go of guilt is hard. She has spent her whole life believing she had to earn love. On the night she overheard her family planning to shame her at Christmas, her mind kept replaying their words long after she closed her door. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling each sentence cut deeper into her chest. The family burden. She needs to be humbled. She'll give up the apartment once we embarrass her. Their laughter echoed in her memory until it sounded like a cruel soundtrack. Tears stung her eyes, but she wiped them away, forcing herself to stay calm. If this had happened years ago, she might have broken. She might have begged them to see her, appreciate her, love her. But not now. Not anymore. Lying there in the quiet darkness of her room, Olivia felt something shift inside her. A new strength, a quiet fire. If they were planning to break her again, she needed a plan of her own. Her grandmother left her full ownership of the apartment property. Olivia first learned this when she received a letter from an attorney early one morning. She almost ignored it, thinking it was another bill or a debt reminder. But when she opened it and read the words, she sat down slowly, her hands shaking. The apartment wasn't just a place to live, it was officially hers. Fully. Completely. Her grandmother had put her name on every document. No shared ownership. No conditions. No hidden clauses. Olivia stared at the papers in disbelief. Her grandmother had trusted her, protected her, and made sure she had something stable in her life when everything else had fallen apart. Emotion rose in her chest, warm and painful at the same time. The attorney's note explained that the property was worth far more than Olivia had ever realized. It wasn't just an apartment. It included the land underneath it, land that had increased in value over the years. Suddenly, she didn't just own a home. She owned something powerful, something that could change her life. But her heart tightened when she thought about how her family would react. For years, Carol had acted like the apartment was hers. She told people it was the family property. She let everyone assume she would inherit it. And Olivia never corrected them because she didn't want conflict. Now she understood why her family always talked about taking it back whenever they were frustrated with her. They thought they had a right to it. They thought Olivia was simply living there until Carol wanted it. They had no idea the truth. That night, Olivia returned home with the documents tucked carefully inside her bag. She planned to go straight to her room and think. But again, she heard voices from the living room. Her mother. Brianna. Ray. She froze, staying hidden behind the wall as their words cut through the air. "We just need her to say it in front of everyone," Carol said. "Once she admits she's taking advantage of us, she'll have no choice but to hand over the apartment." Ray grunted in agreement. "We'll push her. Remind her how much we've supported her. Make her feel guilty." "Exactly," Brianna added, her tone excited. "And I'll record it. A family intervention video. It'll get so much attention online." Olivia's stomach dropped. Social media clout? They wanted to embarrass her publicly just for views? "And once she's embarrassed enough," Carol continued, "she'll sign the papers. It's best for the family. For Brianna's future," Ray added. "For all of us," Brianna said, sounding pleased. Olivia's chest tightened as each word hit her like a blow. They didn't care about her. They didn't care about her feelings, her struggles, or her pain. They cared about property, about control, about making her small so they could take what belonged to her. Her throat ached, but she didn't move. She listened as they mapped out every detail of her humiliation. How they would corner her at Christmas dinner, how they would guilt-trip her, how they would make her look selfish in front of the entire family. They were planning to crush her publicly. And they were enjoying it. She backed away slowly, her breath trembling but her eyes sharp. The hurt was real, deep and sharp, but something else rose with it. Strength, anger, clarity. She realized she didn't have to let them win. In the quiet hallway, she whispered to herself with a steady voice, "If they think they can script my humiliation, they should have written a smarter ending." Show betrayal, pressure, emotional friction. This became Olivia's life in the days leading up to Christmas. But she didn't react the way her family expected. She didn't cry. She didn't confront them. She didn't ask questions. She simply became quiet, calm, focused. She began preparing in silence. The morning after overhearing everything, she called the attorney whose letter she had received. They met in his office, and he calmly confirmed what the documents had already said. The property was hers alone. Her grandmother had made it very clear. No one else had any legal claim. Hearing that felt like a breath of fresh air. For the first time in years, Olivia felt protected. Next, she asked the attorney about the property's value and the best way to sell it. He showed her the numbers, and they were even higher than she thought. Enough to pay off her entire debt. Enough to start fresh. Enough to build a life without depending on anyone. He helped her begin the paperwork to sell the land. She signed the forms with steady hands, feeling a new confidence growing inside her. Back at home, her family continued mocking her behind closed doors, unaware that Olivia already knew every detail of their plan. She overheard Brianna laughing about how pathetic Olivia looked coming home tired every night. She heard Ray saying that a woman like Olivia will always fail. She heard her mother complaining that Olivia owes us more than she gives. Each word hurt, but Olivia kept her face calm. She had learned something important. People reveal themselves when they think you're not listening. And she had listened enough. Sometimes the things she heard triggered memories, flashbacks of years of manipulation. She remembered Carol dismissing her dreams of becoming an event planner, saying it was too risky and too childish. "You need a real job, Olivia," her mother used to say. "Leave the creative things to people who don't have responsibilities." She remembered Brianna taking credit for things Olivia worked hard on. School projects, family tasks, even ideas Olivia shared in confidence. Brianna always found a way to shine while making Olivia fade. She remembered Ray putting a heavy hand on her shoulder when she was a teenager, saying, "Your father left because he couldn't handle responsibility. Don't be like him." He used her father's absence like a weapon, always reminding her to behave, to work harder, to feel guilty. All of it made sense now. They hadn't changed. They had simply grown bolder. But Olivia noticed something else too, something she had never seen clearly before. Brianna had cracks beneath her perfect image. She saw the unpaid bills on Brianna's desk, credit card statements with shocking numbers, shopping bags piling up in Brianna's room. Brianna's luxury lifestyle, beautiful clothes, fancy dinners, vacations, was all built on credit, on debt, on pretending. Brianna wasn't confident. She was drowning too. But instead of fixing herself, she focused on Olivia, envying her quiet strength, her simplicity, her ability to survive even with less. Carol, meanwhile, was laser-focused on one thing: control. Olivia heard her telling Ray in the kitchen one night, "The property should go to Brianna. She needs stability. Olivia will just waste it. We need to secure Brianna's future, not Olivia's mistakes." They never imagined that the daughter they underestimated was already steps ahead of them. Through all of this, Monica stayed by Olivia's side. One night, Olivia finally told her everything. The overheard conversations, the planned humiliation, the property, the upcoming Christmas ambush. Monica listened without interrupting. Then she looked Olivia straight in the eyes and said the one sentence Olivia needed to hear. "You can't keep bleeding for people who sharpen knives behind your back." Olivia felt the truth of those words deep in her chest. She had spent years sacrificing everything for people who never once protected her in return. And she was done. Christmas approached quickly. Lights went up in the neighborhood. Stores played soft music. The air felt heavy and cold. Inside the house, tension grew like a storm waiting to break. But Olivia moved quietly, almost gently. She cooked. She worked. She smiled when needed. She didn't give her family any sign that she knew what they were planning. They thought she was weak, clueless, easy to control. But she wasn't. Inside, she was grieving everything she thought she had with her family. The love she believed existed, the loyalty she thought they shared, the mother she wished she had. But she was also building something stronger. A plan. A way out. A new beginning they could not stop. And she would reveal it when the time was right. Olivia arrives quietly. The house is warm with Christmas lights and the smell of roasting meat, but the atmosphere feels tense, almost sharp. The extended family is already seated around the dining table. Laughter and polite conversation float in the air, but Olivia can sense the hidden undercurrent. She sets her bag down, smiles politely, and takes her seat without a word. Carol raises her glass, tapping it lightly. "Before we eat, we need to talk about Olivia," she begins, her voice sweet but pointed. "We love you, dear, but there are some things we need to address." Brianna leans forward, her eyes bright, holding a neatly folded piece of paper. "Yes," she says. "We made a list of, well, all the times Olivia has let us down this year. We thought it would be good to talk about them openly." Olivia's stomach tightens, but she keeps her expression calm. She listens as Brianna begins, almost theatrically, reading through small mistakes, financial struggles, failed plans, and the startup that collapsed. Every sentence is meant to shame her, to make her feel small in front of the family. Carol nods along approvingly. Ray chimes in occasionally, each word designed to push Olivia into guilt. "You need to do the right thing for the family," Ray says finally, leaning in slightly. "Hand over the property to Carol. It's for everyone's good. Olivia, you know it's the right choice." They think she is cornered. They think she is powerless. They think their carefully scripted intervention will break her, and they will watch her crumble. But Olivia doesn't flinch. She takes a deep breath and smiles, quietly, calmly. Then she speaks. "Thank you for your concern," she says softly. "But I think it's time you know a few things." The room freezes. "I already sold the apartment," Olivia continues. "The funds are moved. The debt is paid. And I've already secured a new place to live." Shock spreads across their faces. Carol's eyes widen. Brianna drops her paper. Ray leans back, stunned. Olivia lets the silence stretch. Then she adds with steady confidence, "And there's one more thing you might want to hear. I recorded your entire conversation planning this so-called intervention. Don't worry, I'm not threatening anyone. It's just for legal protection." The room erupts in chaos. Voices overlap. Carol yells. Brianna gasps, clutching her phone. Ray mutters angrily under his breath. Everyone is scrambling, confused, flustered, and embarrassed. Through it all, Olivia stays calm. She stands, pushes her chair back gently, and looks at them with quiet authority. "You wanted an audience for my humiliation," she says, her voice firm. "Turns out you were the performance." No one says a word. The room is stunned, the carefully crafted plan unraveling in seconds. Olivia turns and walks toward the door. Her heels click softly against the floor. She doesn't look back. She doesn't need to. The anger, the shame, the control, they stay behind with them. She opens the door, steps out into the cold night, and breathes deeply. For the first time in a long time, she feels the freedom she has earned. The storm inside the house can rage all it wants, but it won't touch her anymore. Olivia uses a portion of the money to restart her event planning business, but this time, she isn't doing it alone. Monica joins her as a partner. Together, they set up a small office with bright walls, big windows, and shelves lined with color swatches, ribbons, and sample invitations. It feels like a fresh start, a space built for creativity, trust, and respect. For the first time in years, Olivia feels excitement instead of dread when she walks into work. Every phone call, every meeting, every small success reminds her that she is capable, independent, and in control of her own life. The failures of the past still linger, but they no longer define her. She also moves into a new apartment, clean, warm, and full of light. It isn't just a place to sleep. It is a home that reflects her independence, her choices, and the life she has earned. She sets up her favorite chair by the window, a small desk for planning events, and a corner with books she has always wanted to read but never had time for. Along with these external changes, Olivia begins therapy. She starts to unpack years of guilt, manipulation, and the quiet pain she had carried for too long. At first, it is uncomfortable. Memories she had pushed aside resurface, but slowly, she begins to understand herself better. She learns that setting boundaries doesn't make her selfish, that her dreams matter, and that she doesn't have to sacrifice everything to prove her worth. Weeks later, her phone rings. It's Brianna. Her voice is shaky, hesitant. Olivia. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. For what we said, what we planned. I didn't think it through. Olivia listens quietly. She feels a mix of old hurt and new strength. After a moment, she responds gently but firmly. I forgive you, Brianna. But that doesn't mean everything goes back to how it was. Some boundaries have to stay in place. I won't let this happen again. Brianna's relief is palpable. She agrees, understanding that forgiveness doesn't erase consequences. Olivia hangs up, feeling lighter than she has in years. Carol, on the other hand, never reaches out. She never apologizes. And Olivia stops waiting. She no longer needs validation from someone who never valued her. She stops hoping for approval that will never come. As she sits in her new apartment, Olivia reflects quietly, a small smile on her face. She thinks about all the years she gave to people who never deserved it, all the pain she endured, and all the sacrifices she made. And then she realizes something important. Her freedom wasn't in the money. It wasn't in the apartment or the sale or the new business. Her freedom was in finally choosing herself, in deciding that her life and happiness matter, and in walking away from anyone who tried to control her. For the first time in a long time, Olivia feels whole. She feels strong. She feels ready to face the future, on her own terms. Months later, Olivia is walking through her thriving new office. The sunlight streams through the big windows, catching the colors of ribbons and decorations she and Monica carefully arranged. Phones ring, clients chat excitedly, and her team moves with energy and purpose. It's everything she worked for, built with her own hands and her own choices. A small envelope is placed on her desk. Curious, Olivia opens it and finds a handwritten note inside. I heard you finally stood up for yourself. I'm proud of you. Caleb. For a moment, she just stares at the words. Memories of the past flash briefly. Pain, betrayal, loss, but they no longer sting. She smiles softly, not because of old love, but because she knows she doesn't need anyone else's approval to feel worthy. She doesn't need validation from those who once tried to control her. Olivia steps outside the office, letting the cold winter air fill her lungs. It feels crisp, clean, and real. She closes her eyes and takes a deep breath, feeling alive in a way she never had when she was trapped in her family's expectations. For the first time, she walks without fear, without guilt, without waiting for someone else to define her worth. She thinks about everything: the humiliation her family tried to force on her, the sacrifices she made, the moments she thought she would break. And then she smiles with quiet pride, knowing how far she has come. They wrote me into the role of the family failure, she whispers to herself, feeling the strength in the words. I rewrote myself into someone they can't control. And with that, she walks forward, leaving the past behind and stepping fully into the life she has chosen, free, strong, and unshakable. Hey besties, thanks for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories. See you next time.